Just, I'm recording.
Oh yeah, there you go. So yeah, first card we're going to be looking at is King Godfred here, and this is the 1.0 version. So if there's a 2.0, I don't have it.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. So I'll just begin by reading out the abilities, and then so King Godfred is a sea explorer. Interrupts. If an opponent gives you one character card, Godfred will defend one of their lands until your next turn. So, yeah, how do we want to start this?
So let me go with what the new abilities are.
Okay.
Gotta find my explorers. Events, explorers are there. Okay. So King Godfred now says, interrupt, exchange, offer to defend an opponent's land for one turn in exchange for a card from that player's hand.
Okay. So this one, the 1.0, says it's more of like a conditional statement than an offer.
Mm-hmm.
Says interrupt if an opponent gives you one character card. So how I've seen this in the tournaments is that people will use this card to play it, and then oftentimes it's the end of the game. Someone's about to win, and so people need to do something. So people will use Godfred, and someone else has. Okay, so let me set this up first. Player A plays a morale card like Johannes Gutenberg, gets 500 morale to win. Player B has Simo Haya in play, but they have already used it twice, like once or twice. Like they can't use it for this turn.
Okay.
Player C doesn't have anything, doesn't have Simo Haya, but he has King Godfred. So what player C can do is he can, if he has the 2.0, he can offer, so yeah, he can offer to give Godfred for one turn to player B who has Simo Haya in exchange for Simo Haya, so that player C can use Simo Haya to snipe Johannes Gutenberg from player A. So that's the kind of setup I've seen in the tournaments.
That's quite clever.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah, people will use this as basically a freebie Simo Haya renewal of a card. And so yeah, that's what I've seen. So what do you think?
So it's interesting because that was not intended for that at all. It was more for, I need an extra 1,000 points for defense. I can bring in Godfred, who's 1,000 attack, so 900 defense. And then all of a sudden, great, a battle is won or lost because of that. It was never intended, myself and my business partners who put these together at that time, never intended for this to happen. So it is so amazing the type of things that come out of people's minds. Is like, wait a second, I can use this. But the thing is, it fits completely within the rules. There's no, you're not doing anything that breaks the rules. So
if that initial first trade is allowed, that means Godfred is in the player. Go back to our player scenario. So player A is Johannes Gutenberg, about to win. Player B has Simo Haya, but can't use it. Mm-hmm. Player C has Godfred. So player C gives Godfred to player B in exchange for Simo Haya. So they swap cards. And this is only lasts until according to this one,
until that person's next turn.
Turn. So player C's next turn.
Mm-hmm.
So player B currently has Godfred. So say player C now uses his Simo Haya to try and snipe Gutenberg, but in some way, maybe through like player A has George Washington Carver or something and nullifies Simo Haya. Player B, I've seen this before in the tournaments, will do the Godfred trade back to player C, the original owner, in exchange, not for Simo Haya, because he's already used Simo Haya, but for another card.
So say it sounds like an ultimate loop, eternal loop.
Well, see, I thought of that at first, but then I realized this is player C's King Godfred, but each card can only be used by one player once, right?
Yeah.
So player C has already used Godfred's ability, so you can't use it again. And then player B is just about to use Godfred's ability. So once both of them have used it, they can't use it anymore.
Unless there's a player D.
Unless there's a
or player
D.
E.
Or player E, yes. Like
so, I mean, you keep going. So it is like an internal loop that it just keeps going.
It's not unlimited, but each player can use it once.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the layout I've seen in the tournaments.
Hmm.
It's quite an interesting sequences.
So let's see. If he got out of the Simo Haya, and then C took him back, so it was originally his. He doesn't get to use the ability again. So that's the thing.
No.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm thinking, because he already used it to get Simo Haya. Player C already used it to get Simo Haya to himself.
Yeah, that's why I was saying player E, because if player E took it, he's never used those abilities, so then he would be able to.
Yeah, because player B gains Godfred in exchange for Simo Haya. But now player B is in control of this card, so he can use it, or he can offer it back to the same person. And
so totally in the rules. It's totally in the rules.
That's in the rules. So people can use this to do that. It's just the only problem is the infinite loop. Like
if you have more players that.
If you depending on the number of players, this thing can be used once, twice, 3 times, or like in the same game, just by different players.
So it'd be nice the next time that's printed to basically say that it can only be used once in the whole game. So it's completely limited, or once for like this lifespan. But I don't know how you write that in. Figure that out.
Maybe if like during the game he is played in, or like some wording like that. He can be only used once per game. Yeah. Meaning player C, who originally had Godfred, can give it to player B in exchange for Simo Haya. But after that, Godfred is useless. Like he can't. His
abilities are, but he's still strong.
Yeah, he still has his strength and his ability as a Sea Explorer, but he can't use his ability by player C or any other player or any player he's traded to, like for the rest of that game. So that could be an interesting correction on that.
I have sticky notes. So I have what I'm using is the full encyclopedia of. I hate this. Blue screen doesn't work. Right? There you go. You almost had a clip of it. How do I get this to work? Here we go. No, it doesn't. Okay, whatever. I have the whole encyclopedia of historical conquest. Actually, you know what? I'll make it work. 1 second. Let's turn off. Where's none? There we go.
There we go.
Yes, everyone, this is my office. It's a little messy. I've got things I got to do. Letters I need to write. So I have all things historical conquest in here. So this is all people. I still need to do my rare card collection or selection, but this is alphabetically. These are all the types. So you got armies, you got authors, businessmen, conquerors, documents, events, and so forth.
Okay.
So,
in your collection there, what edition of Godfred do you have? 1.0, 2.0?
So I actually have different albums for 1.0, 2.0, the originals. I have the rare card one as well. And then I've got one other. What is it? Yeah, I've got one other one that I don't remember. Oh, sorry. So I have the originals. I have 1.0, I have 1.0, 1.1, because there was a reprint and there were some changes. And then I have a 2.0.
The one with the yellow circles.
The one with the yellow circles. Yeah. So I remember what the point was. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start writing notes on these different cards. Godfred, And so his need is to say in this game or.
Yeah. So is that the call we're making on this? Is that future Prince of Godfred is going to say, like his ability can only be used once in the entire game.
Yeah.
And then once he is used, he can't be used by any player.
Yep. So every time that we reprint these, we reevaluate all the cards. We try to find all the loopholes. We go through with the stump the creators, find some way of cleaning them up so that, though at the same time, I like having ambiguities. So I like having things where people can say, well, what about this? It's in the rules, like you're saying. It's in the rules. I want to play it. Can I play it this way? And I want people to say, yes, you can play it that way. But because it becomes a conversation piece with the person you're playing with. So
unless that person has Caesar Rodney, in which case you're kind of hitting the wall there.
Yeah. But that way, the game becomes less of I'm just going to talk about the game, or I'm just going to talk about what cards I'm playing, and that's the only interaction I have with my opponent. And this is does that work? Is it logical? It's like Scrabble. When you play Scrabble, it's like, that's not a word. It's like, that is a word. We'll go look it up. Until you go run to grab the dictionary. It's like, see, it is a word here. That's Greek. Like, it's still a word. We're not playing in Greek.
You have no idea that scenario has happened many times in my household when we're playing. But okay, so that's going to be the future reprints of Godfred. You're going to be once per game, but there are still going to be players out there who have the old editions. So, what rules should we implement for the old editions?
So one thing that we say with like the new cards that come out is that the newest cards in full tournaments. So once we do, like before COVID, we were going to do in 2020, we planned to do the state tournaments. Then we were going to do the local tournaments, the state tournaments, the national tournaments. And we were going to make it so that people would actually meet from all across the US, come out to actually the World War I Museum. We had them all lined up to actually host our tournaments. They actually sell historical conquest at the World War I Museum and posters of the Red Baron. But yeah, we were going to do this whole tournament there. And so at those kind of tournaments, the ones that are like more buttoned down, we always say the rules are the newest cards, the newest set of cards, that's what we go off of. So if there's any questions between an old card and a new card, you can still play the old card, but if there's any arguments, we always go to the new cards rules.
The new cards rules. Okay. So that is a very clever policy. I didn't know.
So in the virtual tournaments, like the ones that you host, we don't have to do that because it's just too much, and I'd have to give you a whole a selection of this, of which would be cool, and I'd love to do that at some point. But one that you can just collect and not play with. You got your decks and you got your collection. But yeah, you don't have a whole collection of all the new ones, so it'd be a little bit harder to do. Now on the website, if you go to the website, you go to the Learn tab and you go to the master list. So you can actually see the master list of where all the cards go. Down below that, there's a conversion chart, which tells you if it's an instant, a hold, or a continuous, and then how many times you can play it. But I think if I remember correctly, we also added in, or we're going to be adding in, the new abilities of those people. So you can actually see
the latest like edition of those. Of the abilities. Okay, that is
good.
That is very good.
Yeah.
that is going to be very useful for me as judging the tournaments, and for if we actually win, or if we actually go to physical tournaments again.
Well, and as you might know, we also have the wiki page that's being developed right now. The wiki page all has 2.0 cards.
Okay. And is that going to be updated on a regular basis as well, or? Yeah,
they're working on it. They're slow to help. If we can actually find more people to help out with that, it'd be great. Someone that can actually write fairly well, just so that it's not like proper English and such like that. It doesn't have to be the best, but so he's just looking for help, and then afterwards he can come back and do this. And this is another 14, 15, 16-year-old that loves the
Okay.
game and just wants to help out. So he's creating this wiki page. He's also the one that I think he set up the Discord
Oh,
page. So you can also go to Discord to talk about it, and then he usually takes that and puts it on to the wiki page.
got it. Okay.
Yeah. So at
So,
some
so
point,
yeah. So yeah,
Go ahead.
conversion chart, the conversion chart ability and the wiki page are going to have the abilities of the latest cards, and
Mhm.
Godfrey's going to be on that.
Yeah,
So
you'll be able to see all the images of them. So the card will actually be on the wiki page, so you can see it and read it right there.
cool.
Yeah.
So then, until then, what should we do? Are we like for the online tournaments? If someone plays the 1.0 or the old editions of King
Mhm.
Godfred, what like do we follow the ability on the card, or do we go to the latest version of the ability?
If you have the ability to go to the latest, then yes. As of right now, the abilities are not on the conversion chart yet, or
Okay.
are. I'll look that up while we're talking. But I'd say, at least for that card, that it can only be used once per round, basically. So like it can't be jumped around everywhere, because that will give it a little bit of limitation. So like a card can only
Okay.
be used or such. But
So until the conversion chart abilities are printed, King Godfred, his ability can be used, but it can only be used once per round.
mhm.
And so in this instant, like go back to our player analogy. Player A, player B, player C. Player C has King Godfred. He trades it to player B for Simohaya, and then for the rest of that round, no one can use the abilities printed on the card of King Godfred.
Yeah, I think that also could fall within the transport rules, because you're only allowed to transport once per turn. And if
Yeah,
that's
that's right.
someone else's turn, you can't transport, because he's an explorer. That's the only one that can transport. He is basically being transported somewhere else.
Okay.
So in that,
you're saying that take the like trading King Godfred, that addition to using the ability for that round, it also takes up your transfer for your turn.
yeah, I think that should be the
Okay.
rule behind
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Yeah.
All right. So that's King Godfred
Awesome.
settled.
What's the next one?
I gotta figure that out, because there's a lot to take care. Oh, one of the players actually from the tournaments had a question. Is Augustus Ball a card?
Alice Ball?
Alice Ball? Is that what it was?
Alice Ball is a create your own card contest card.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't. I recorded the question and I didn't get the name exactly. So if it's Alice Ball,
You're good. So wait. So let's see. I don't know how this is going to turn out in the video, but I'm going to share screen this. So you come down. She is Alice Ball right here. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Alice Augusta Ball.
Oh, Augusta.
That's why.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I was kind of right.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's this is just a quick question. It's not too much, but one of the question was so it says intro choose prevents a character from being discarded or revive one character from the discard pile immediately. The question is so I know that the first ability is an interrupt, like you have to play that and then immediately you have to save a card. So that's kind of like almost like a Mary Curie kind of like save.
Yeah.
But then I think the question is the second part of the ability a hold?
So that was actually Simeon, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
He actually wrote me. He wrote me the question also. So I had some time to think about it. So, but I'm actually thinking that we should actually change it to an H in one, so you can hold it and one time. So it's great that you can actually play as an interrupt, but if you just want to play it just to get out of your hand and then use the abilities later on, I think that's fair enough also.
If we make that change, Mary Curie is going to go out of style, replaced by this card.
Yeah.
Just
Hey,
it's
I
an
mean, they're
it's an
both great
interrupt to
cards.
Mary
So,
Curie now.
yep. I think they're both great cards, so they'll be able to both be used
Cool.
to everyone's benefit. But at the same
All
time,
right.
remember, Alice Ball is also a rare card, so most people won't have her
That
unless
is
they
true.
go to unless they go to the local tournaments or see the Hat Man at one of the conventions. They buy something online in November or the rare card program, which
Got it.
we actually. So I think I mentioned to everyone that Historical Conquest, the guy that was doing it got burned out. The one that was developing the digital version. So we've been waiting about a year to do it. Well, we just got funding to finish it.
That's
New
right.
funding because the last funding was used up with this other guy. So in this one, we don't have to pay them unless they come out with a working game, which is really good. But for the rare card program, when people write in their essays, they're actually going to get the digital version as well. And I know we talked about that, but this will also be like all these rare cards will actually be digitalized as well. And we'll give very unique codes so that you can claim these once you like go to a tournament or do any of these things. Then for a limited time, you'll be able to go back to your game, type it in. And it might be like for if you go to a tournament, we have a special one for a tournament where it's like just today. So you need to run back to your house after you're done and go type this code in and get this card. Otherwise, here's your physical card. But if you want the digital version, you need to do that today.
You need to do that right now.
Yeah. And that way we don't feel it's less likely that someone's going to take that code and share it with a friend, minus someone that actually came to the tournament, and then everyone has that one card. Because hopefully that people don't share those cards. We might have to figure out a better way of doing it, but it allows for a large group of people to get it just that one day, and then that code's shut off. So
okay,
it makes it a little easier for us to program because it's really hard to send out unless we get a program that does the whole thing, sending out all unique codes to the people. In the end, we hope to do that, but once we start off, it'll be here's your unique code, and then we have to type up program another unique code. Here's your unique code, giving out to one person, then second person, then third person, all having different codes, so no one copies, and they're all one-time use codes.
Got it.
So, and that's
all right.
Good.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say that's also the problem that we're finding with putting unique codes in the decks, because if all the cards are actually printed the same cards every time, it also means the code inside those cards are going to be the same. And all you have to do is, hey, friend, use this code and you get that deck. Well, we certainly don't want to do that because it cheats us out of the system. And we are doing this because we want to help make history exciting. But in order to do it, we still have to make some money off it to pay our bills.
Yeah.
So we can see people cheating the system. I mean, I just said I love hearing how people cheat the system on cards. Just not when they cheat the system when it comes to funding what we're doing to get this all out.
Yeah, so. A bit more serious.
Yep.
All right, so then last question before we end the meeting. Where is this video going to be posted so that people can find it?
This is going to be, let's see, how do I end my share?
Obviously, if you're watching this, you found the video, but
yeah. So this will be on YouTube.
Okay.
And then it'll also be posted on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So we have accounts for those. So we'll post it all on those. It'll be on our YouTube channel so everyone can see it. And I think this should be under like a whatever Wednesday. So we'll post it on a Wednesday. Does that sound about good?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. That sounds right. Yeah.
So we can post it on a Wednesday, and we'll do it. What would we say? Once a month?
Once a month. Yeah. Especially as summer rolls along, I think it'll free up just a tad. But just our both respective schedules is going to be once a month. I thought was good. And then I will we'll talk later about which card. In fact, like over the next couple of tournament days, I'll look for another instance of a card like Godfred.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, that'll be our next topic, next meeting.
Yeah.
So,
So another thing we can do is get you a special account that you can log into and get the questions from other players, especially
is
the
true,
virtual
yeah.
tournament. So during the week, if they come up with one and they don't want to send it to me as a Stump the Creator or such, and they just want to see you ask the question, then because I think it's a little bit more interactive when you're able to be here, I'm able to be here, and you probably have another opinion, and that's what I like doing. Usually when I
Yeah.
post on YouTube, I give my stance on our rules and such, but I want to hear all these different opinions that come up. And I had people, I think around COVID, that basically were telling me that's wrong, that's against the rules, and then they give me the rules, and it's like, you're right, that is.
Yeah.
Because I'm just one person trying to remember all the rules and everything like that, and all the specific cards. And if somebody else has a differing opinion or another insight to it, I love hearing it. So
Yeah.
that's another reason why I think this interview type is really cool to have, and makes it a lot easier when it comes to vetting all the questions. When I give a resolve and you have another insight into it, we can do that. I think it'd be fun also to bring on other people. So if other people wanted to join this, that they could send you an email to this account and allow you to say yes, and we invite them to the next one we do.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that over the next month. But yeah, I'll keep attending tournaments and look out for our next card. So yeah, thanks for this time.
Yeah, thank you, Charlie. I really appreciate you putting this together.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, see you next Friday.
Yeah, see you on Friday. Oh, and we actually had two different families that were wanted to learn how to play, because it was their first time. They just bought at the conventions that we're not able to get into. So next week I'm going to have them email me right before the tournament, and I will work it out with them so that they can get in. For some reason they had some issues that came up. So if anybody else has issues, don't hesitate, email me before the tournament. I'm going to try to be a little bit better. I actually had some of my appointments in the afternoon on Fridays freed up, so I should be able to be there, one, on time, but two, early enough so I can actually check my emails. So if there's someone that's new that wants to play, we can make sure that they get in.
All right, sounds good. See you next time.
Thanks, Charlie. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. If you have any comments or questions, add them to the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, actually. Take care. Bye.